Asking the right question is a critical skill in managing a discussion, particularly within case method. The saying goes that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, I think asking the right question is worth 1,000 answers. If you can ask the right question and stimulate 10, 15, 20 minutes of active, engaged, passionate discussion among 30, 40, 60, 100 people, it's a wonderful thing. If you ask the wrong question, you can really bring a discussion to a halt. So knowing the different kinds of questions, knowing what kinds of questions to use, and practicing finding those questions in advance rather than relying on your impulsive, spur-of-the-moment intelligence to do so can be a very important facilitator skill. So I think asking the right questions, having the right questions is one of the most important pieces of effective case method instructions. We can draw a distinction immediately between open versus closed questions. A closed question is any question that invites a yes or no answer. An open-ended question is one that invites an opinion, a framework, a way of thinking about things. So if you ask, for example, is this the right way to analyze this case? The answer is yes or no. You and or the students may imply, well, give me some more. My experience is whatever you think you're implying may or may not be what the students are receiving. Better, therefore, to have framed a well-worded, poignant question that cuts to the heart of the issue in an open-ended way that invites everyone to think about how this approach or this topic or this analytic framework is going. So instead of asking, is this the right way to analyze this case, I might ask, are there other alternatives for how we might analyze a case, and what might those be? And ask students then to give us some different options. We can come back, but you get the point. Yes or no versus multiple opinions possible, which allows a more active debate. Level 3 questions are, for me, questions that challenge a person's underlying assumptions, their values, assumptions, beliefs, and expectations about the way the world is or should be. I find level 3 questions a great way to start a class when you've got a poignant topic at hand. So if the topic is, for example, about somebody being, or how you fire people, or how you downsize an organization, and maybe you're going to do this in, say, a human resource management course, an opening question for that class might be, identify a time in your own life when you were let go and what happened to you as a result of that. Now, you could just have them discuss that with their neighbors. You could have them only think about the answer and then maybe collect the answers on the sideboard off to the side before you jump into the main class in the center of the room. Nevertheless, the point is that a level 3 question is one that provokes not only level 2 cognitive thinking, but also stimulates and provokes level 3 questions, or perhaps even abrasions about one's values, assumptions, beliefs, and expectations. We want to ask questions that have multiple, not single answers. Now, in the case where you're teaching a particular formula or an analytic way of assigning monies to accounts, for example, in accounting, you may have found the right answer in that calculation. I would hesitate to say, what's the right answer here? I might ask students, what's your answer and how did you get there? Then the student presents their logic. Another way you could do that, though, that many of my colleagues use, is take a vote. So what's your answer, what's your answer, what's your answer, what's your answer, and then develop a distribution on the chalkboard to see the range of how people tried to apply a particular formula to a set of data, and then ask people how they would assess which of these is more correct rather than others. So inviting multiple answers is going to involve a greater number of people in the room and raise the level of passion and buy-in. One also needs to be sensitive to the timing. So if a topic has been beaten to death, people are getting bored with it, your ability to sense that timing and when to interject a question that will lead them to the next topic, it's a critical skill. I don't know how to describe how you tell that. For me, it's I watch sort of an energy meter in the classroom, and if the energy meter is going over to 0, well, then I want to ramp up the RPMs and maybe stimulate it with a question that will move us on. You look at body language, you look at facial expressions, you listen to whether or not people have started to begin repeating themselves and saying things that have already been described in the class, and that might be the time to jump in with the next question. It's a great way to make transitions from one topic to the next, although depending on how the discussion's gone, it may not be the next topic that you were planning in your teaching plan. I always also want to make a distinction between when you're teaching case method, do you ask the student, what should Mr. Smith do? I think that's a bad question. I would never ask that question because it invites the student to try to second guess what happened in Mr. Smith's mind. The more accurate question is, what would you do if you were in Mr. Smith's position? So instead of asking the student to role play the protagonist in the case, I want them to be clear that what I want to do is parachute you into that position, and you use your thoughts, your verbs, your analytic skills to describe how you would go about handling that situation. I think that gets a deeper impact. It makes it less intellectual, less arm's length, more intimate to the student to think in that way and to be invited. If one is repeatedly invited arm's length distance cognitively, what should that guy do? It's a way of keeping yourself distant from making the decision and living with the consequences. So in summary, I think a good question is worth 1,000 answers. And if you can pay attention to the kinds of responses you get from the questions you ask, you will learn pretty quickly what the substance, what the structure, and what the feel of a good question is. It's going to be open-ended. It's going to be sensitive to the apparent development of the student. So if a student is shy, retiring, or new to a subject matter, you don't want to hammer them right off the bat lest they retreat more and more during the rest of the course. You want to build on what's happened before, and you want to make sure that you're not asking them to second guess or role play what somebody else might do, particularly the protagonist in the case. I hope that this brief discussion on the importance of asking quality questions will have stimulated your mind a little bit and help you think about framing good questions before each class, even though some of them may occur to you live when you're in the middle of a class. In those moments when that doesn't happen and you've got a list of 4 or 5 really good questions that you've thought through in advance, that will, I think, work to your benefit.